Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka Lauren33. I'm back here today with another episode of the Legit Shoot Podcast, here with your Monday Night Raw review and results for February 8th, 2021. You guys are getting this on a Tuesday afternoon, and that might be the formula going forward for the Monday Night Raw reviews. You guys have kind of seen with the SmackDown reviews, I've been doing those on like Saturday nights, and for the Raw reviews, they're most likely going to get moved temporarily to Tuesday afternoons, right? You guys know I can't live stream at the moment because I'm still dealing with Suecia and their copyright strikes. That should be solved here in the next couple of weeks. My goal is to get that done and over with before WrestleMania, so we'll be able to live stream again. But if that's not the case, we'll just keep doing these pre-recorded podcasts. I miss engaging with you guys in the live chat, but you guys have been very active in, the premiere chat rooms and the comment section. So I want to thank you guys for all of that, man. But we are going to review Monday Night Raw tonight. The show was last night, and I'm kind of glad that I'm doing this on a Tuesday afternoon because, usually when I do the Raw reviews, I do them live right after Raw goes off the air. And then, I have all these emotions inside of me, right? Because one thing that humans are prone to, we're prone to recency bias. Things that we just see, we just react on to because humans are emotional, right? And when we see something, we tend not to think, before, we react. So, I'm always angry on the Raw reviews usually. And I'm going to be honest, last night's Raw was probably the worst Raw of the year so far. We're only in February, right? And we only have had, 5, other Raws so far. But Monday Night Raw last night was absolutely horrific. And I'm going to rip this show to stretch. I probably won't rip it the way I would if I was live, right? Because if I was live, I wouldn't have already started ranting. But, at least, for me taking the night, I was able to have some clarity and able to think about what we saw on last night's show. And I think it gives me a better, I guess I can say, mindset to analyze the show and talk about, what happened. Because, I know a lot of you guys come to the reviews and the podcast to see me rant. But at the end of the day, I want what's best for the product. And the WWE product right now, especially Monday Night Raw, SmackDown's decent, but Monday Night Raw is absolutely horrific. The show is garbage every single week. And last night's show was, like I said, it was the worst show of the year. And we are in WrestleMania season. This is when you should be putting on the best shows of the year, right? Because you're building up to the biggest show of the year in WrestleMania. And you guys saw with the Super Bowl, right? Tom Brady getting his 7th ring. And you guys know I'm a big Tom Brady guy. I wish he was still here in New England playing for the Pats, but I understood why he had to leave because of Bill Belichick. And with the Super Bowl happening and him winning his 7th ring, I was so happy. And I was going to go easy on Raw just because I was in a great mood. But the Raw last night was so bad, so horrific that I can't come on here and give them a pass. It's WrestleMania season. There is no excuse. There is no excuse for the poor logic gaps, the bad storytelling, the bookings that don't make sense. We have a pay-per-view in less than 2 weeks, 13 days from now. Actually, no, 12 days from now when you guys are watching this, since I'm posting this on Tuesday. We have a pay-per-view on the 21st, the Elimination Chamber, right? And usually that would be the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania. But the last couple of years, right, we know that they like to put another pay-per-view before WrestleMania, Fastlane. And plus, remember, WrestleMania is not for another 2 months. You still have February and March. So kind of makes sense. But at the end of the day, man, I'm not giving them a pass. It's WrestleMania season. You're putting out pure garbage. Plus, we're starting to see more and more with each passing week where they're going with WrestleMania, right? Last week, we didn't really have much of an idea because we didn't get an announcement from Edge or Bianca Belair. WWE's keeping us, on our heels. And this pisses me off because I understand if you want to make us wait on the decision from Edge and Bianca Belair. Even though if you read the dirt sheets and you read wrestling sources about the rumors for Mania, we already basically know who Edge and Bianca Belair are going to face at Mania. And the thing about it is, I disagree with the choices that are being made right now, especially when it comes to Edge, which we will talk about tonight on the podcast. Or it's not tonight, it's actually today. I'm recording this in the morning. But you guys get the point, right? So we're going to talk about all that on today's podcast, man. But just the logic gaps. Just with the way the Elimination Chamber is looking, right? I'm gonna be honest with you. This card is not looking good. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't. You know what they're doing with Asuka and the Raw Women's Championship? I'm gonna say this right now, and my boy Anthony said it. You guys know Anthony. He used to be my co-host here on the podcast. He is watching the product now these days. He doesn't watch the full shows, but he's keeping up with it, right? And, we were saying it. Asuka's not going to enter WrestleMania as the Raw Women's Champion. I don't think she is. And you know what? If what me and Anthony believe is going to happen actually does happen, WrestleMania is not going to be a good show for the Monday Night Raw side of things. For SmackDown, it'll look decent, even though I disagree with what they're doing. But the Monday Night Raw side of WrestleMania is not looking good if they're going to do what I think they're going to do at the Elimination Chamber. Right? And speaking of the Elimination Chamber, I have some people tell me on Twitter last night, oh, we're going to see Roman Reigns defend the Universal title in the Elimination Chamber. No, we're not. No, we're not. They announced tonight, right? And this is kind of a good transition as we get into the review. They announced tonight that we will be getting the WWE Championship will be defended inside the Elimination Chamber by Drew McIntyre, right? Which isn't a huge surprise, but it already tells you, you could kind of already see where WWE's going, right? They already give you hints like, all right, if Drew McIntyre's WrestleMania opponent is going to be set up by whatever happens in the Elimination Chamber, no matter if he successfully retains or he loses the title, right? They're already basically kind of telling you, all right, this is how we're going to set up Drew's match for WrestleMania. And we know this, and this is why I have this podcast. I'm here to educate you guys at the end of the day. One thing that they always do for the Elimination Chamber, ever since the brand split, they always do one chamber match from Raw and one chamber match from SmackDown. They also always do one men's Elimination Chamber match and one female Elimination Chamber match. So let's use our heads here. People trying to tell me that Roman Reigns is going to defend the Universal Championship inside the Elimination Chamber. Let's use our minds for a second. Let's actually try to think logically, right? Drew McIntyre is a male superstar, right? He's on Monday Night Raw. So if one of your Elimination Chamber matches is going to be for Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship, right, from Monday Night Raw, that's basically telling you that the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match is going to most likely be for the SmackDown Women's Championship. So most likely, and I expect this to get announced on Friday, right? Because we only have 2 weeks till the next pay-per-view, right? 12 days at the day I'm, uploading this podcast, right? I expect this Friday on SmackDown that Sasha Banks will be announced to defend the SmackDown Women's Championship inside the Elimination Chamber. That's the most logic thing. It's the way they do it every year. One Elimination Chamber match from Raw, another Elimination Chamber match from SmackDown. One men's match, one women's match. So that makes the most sense. Roman Reigns, he probably will defend the title at Elimination Chamber. Right now, there's rumors saying they're going to do another KO match. I don't want to see it. The story has already been told, like I told you guys on the SmackDown review last Saturday. That story has already been told, right? We don't need another match. At that point, you're just, doing a match just to do another match. We know how great KO and Roman are together, but what else could they tell from a story perspective? KO is not winning that championship. I did say maybe if you want to do something crazy, right? Maybe if you want KO to win the championship and hold it for a couple of weeks, just because KO is the babyface, you want to give him a cool moment. Maybe you have KO win the Universal title at the Royal Rumble, and then you have him drop it to Roman a couple weeks later, maybe back at the Chamber. Because remember, we have 2 pay-per-views between now and WrestleMania. The thing is, I'm not the biggest fan of hot potato title changes, but, I'm kind of here to make an exception because KO is a babyface, and usually the babyfaces are supposed to prevail. But Roman's so good at what he does that, you understand why they're not going to take the title off Roman. There's discussions going on right now that the company has no idea who they want to win between Edge and Roman Reigns. And that is a big concern going to WrestleMania. Because it's one of the main reasons why I said you should be doing Edge versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship, right? Because at least there, it makes a lot more sense. Edge is not the right guy to take that title from Roman. As great as Edge is, and he's been fantastic, especially on the mic. We will talk about Edge's great promo later on in the podcast. But, it doesn't make any sense for Edge to be the one to take off the Universal title from Roman Reigns. I'm not going to go into a full explanation on that because you guys need to go check out the SmackDown review because I went in on like 15 minutes talking about it, and I don't want to repeat myself here on the Raw review, right? Because I know we're focusing a lot on SmackDown, but I'm just trying to make you guys understand why WWE's decision-making is not right. It's not right. It should be Daniel Bryan. If anything, the Elimination Chamber match for SmackDown should have been, Daniel Bryan, right? Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura, Kevin Owens, and, you could put two more names in there. Maybe Biggie and Sami Zayn, right? And the winner of that match goes on to face Roman at Mania. That should have been the Chamber match, with Daniel Bryan winning and us getting Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns at Mania, right? The Yes Movement versus the head of the table. We've been saying that for months. And now, the way it looks like, we have no idea what Daniel Bryan's going to do on Mania. No idea. And I'm actually concerned. Because I thought it was an obvious path. But now Diddy wants to change all their plans. And, now, you're looking at it. It looks like Drew McIntyre is going to be the odd man out. It looks like he's going to be the odd man out. Because even if you do end up doing Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus at Mania, I don't see that as a Mania match. Like, it'll be a good match, but I don't see a Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre story being, deserving, especially being deserving of a main event match on night one of Mania, because we all know Roman Reigns and Edge will most likely be night two. I'm sorry, McIntyre versus Sheamus is not deserving of the main event of night one of Mania. I'd rather you give that to Sasha versus Bianca or whoever you have Sasha face. And that's just me being honest. I know there's going to be people that disagree with me, but I'm just being honest. Drew versus Sheamus is not Mania worthy. It should be Edge versus McIntyre. But it looks like we don't have confirmation, but it looks like that's the direction WWE's going with Edge versus Roman, which is not right. And so we're going to talk about that a lot as we go through the show. All right. But, we're going to talk about that. This was not a good show tonight, like I said, but I'm going to do my best to, analyze and review it objectively, right? And hopefully you guys are here for it. As always, guys, thank you guys for joining me here on the podcast. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Also, make sure you guys subscribe and then hit that bell for all notifications so you guys are notified every time I post a new video, man. Like I said, go check out, we had 3 different podcasts last week. We had the SmackDown review, actually 4. We had the SmackDown review. I had the bonus episode where we talked about why Sasha Banks has to defeat Bianca Belair if that match does happen like we expected to at WrestleMania 37. All right, we also had the Raw review and we had the Royal Rumble review. So go check all those podcasts out if you guys haven't already. Thank you to everyone who live tuned with me as always. Make sure you guys follow me down on social media. The link is in the description down below. You guys want to talk wrestling, anime, any of that good stuff. So we're going to get into it. So we start off the show with a recap. So they showed a promo of the history between Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, right? They're doing this whole thing. Sheamus turned on McIntyre last week. Best friend turned on another best friend, right? And, they showed a bunch of history of what's been going on with, with them, on WWE TV and off. So trying to make you, invested in this friendship, which, like I said, it's a decent story, right? Best friend turning on best friend. We just saw this story with Bayley and Sasha Banks last year. It's just not a WrestleMania worthy feud to me. This is a really good B-level pay-per-view feud, right? You know, and it's a B-level pay-per-view feud that could go on for a couple months. I'm talking Elimination Chamber and Fastlane, right? That's a good 2-month program. It's just not WrestleMania worthy, in my opinion. And I think most of you guys would agree with me on that. You know, I'm not trying to disrespect Sheamus here, man. But, you know, you're telling me Sheamus in the main event of Mania for the WWE Championship? I'm not saying Sheamus isn't a main event player, but main event worthy of Mania, the biggest show of the year? There's a reason why he hasn't main event a Mania before. There's a reason why, if you remember back in 2012, Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan was the first match on the card, and the match was 8 seconds long. I'm just trying to be honest here. I'm not saying Sheamus isn't a star, but I don't think it's WrestleMania worthy. I like Sheamus. I do. Man, but I just don't think this is WrestleMania worthy, especially in the main event of night one. But anyway, after we got this little video package, we saw Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce introduced Shane McMahon, right? So this was different, right? Shane McMahon, an authority figure, even though we know he's not a general manager anymore, right? Because remember, he got fired after his feud with Kevin Owens. We haven't seen Shane McMahon since Raw Underground was canceled. If you guys remember that, atrocity, from fall of last year, but Shane McMahon was back tonight. I thought this was going to be, something big, maybe that they were bringing back GMs or something like that, because, as much as I sometimes hate the way WWE does GMs, having GMs on TV does make for a better product, especially when you have a brand split, right? So you have Shane McMahon. He comes out. You think he's going to make a big announcement, but the only announcement he was there to make was to announce that Drew McIntyre would be defending the WWE title inside the Elimination Chamber against 5 former WWE champions. And this pissed me off. If you guys saw me tweet, I said, why in the hell is Miz and Jeff Hardy in this match? I honestly don't understand what goes on behind WWE Creative. This is when I start getting in my rant mode, right? If you guys watch Monday Night Raw, if you guys watch the reviews every single week, you guys know how much I hate The Miz and how much they've devalued the Money in the Bank because of what they did with Miz and Otis last year. Also, and with Jeff Hardy, Hardy has not been booked, importantly, since the feud with Sheamus, which was nearly a year ago. If you guys remember, that feud took place right after WrestleMania. It was right around the middle of the pandemic, when they were still in the Performance Center. That's how long ago. Remember when they were in the Performance Center? Yeah. Jeff Hardy has done nothing important. He's been in a feud with Elias for most of the fall. And I haven't cared about Jeff Hardy since the Sheamus feud, which was nearly a year ago. And you're telling me that Jeff Hardy deserves to be inside the Elimination Chamber? The Miz, who's been a glorified jobber, the only reason why he's relevant at all on WWE TV these days is because he has Money in the Bank and he's in the chamber? So what? Just because, we're doing an Elimination Chamber match with former WWE champions. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we do qualifying matches where you have to qualify to get inside the Elimination Chamber. I understand we have 2 weeks to build, but you don't need really much build for an Elimination Chamber match, right? You can just do like 3 qualifying matches this week, do 2 qualifying matches next week, or if you want, you can do all 5 qualifying matches on one show, right? Build an entire Monday Night Raw just based off qualifying matches for the Chamber, right? And do things that way. If anything, the Elimination Chamber should be Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Sheamus, right? McIntyre, of course, he's in there because he's the WWE champion. And the other 2 names I would have in there, Bobby Lashley, who has been arguably the most dominant WWE superstar in the men's division outside of Roman Reigns in the entire company over the last year. And you could say Drew McIntyre. Bobby Lashley has been amazing. The only thing I can get on Bobby Lashley for is he still has to learn to cut a promo after all this time. And I feel like that's just more with his genetics. I just think he's not the best when it comes to speech, right? But you could not sit here and say Lashley doesn't deserve to be in the chamber, right? And I know lastly, he did have a match announced for the Chamber tonight where he will be defending the U.S. title before anybody in the chat, tries to remind me like I didn't watch the show. But I'm saying if we're making the best Chamber possible with people who actually deserve to be in the Chamber, it would be McIntyre, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Sheamus, Keith Lee, and either Bobby Lashley or Matt Riddle. That's the way it should be. Miz and Jeff Hardy have no business being inside that Chamber. I don't give a crap. I don't care if they're former WWE champions. Hardy won a WWE title a decade ago. Back in, 2008 was the last time he held the WWE championship when he defeated Triple H. And then Miz, it's been a decade since he held the WWE championship back in 2011. They've done nothing worthy of being inside that Chamber match. And they don't make the Chamber better. Miz is terrible in the ring. I'm sorry. He's not good. He's boring. He's vanilla. He's generic. Hardy doesn't do anything special in the ring anymore either. But yet they deserve to be in the Chamber. Instead of putting a guy like Keith Lee who could use that spotlight. Somebody who's supposed to be a future star of the company. Or a Matt Riddle. Or a Bobby Lashley who actually deserves it for how dominant he's been. But instead you put people that have been glorified jobbers who we haven't cared about in months inside the Chamber. This is the kind of stuff that pisses me off about this company. It really does. They don't belong. They don't belong in the Chamber. No matter what. And I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. If you believe The Miz and Jeff Hardy deserve to be in the Chamber, because they're former WWE champions, then you're part of the problem with this company. You're part of the reason why Monday Night Raw is so garbage. I don't care what anybody says. Jeff Hardy and The Miz being in the Chamber shows what's wrong with this company. They go backstage and they're like, all right, let's do an Elimination Chamber full of past WWE champions who haven't mattered in months. Yeah, great job there, WWE. And this is what you bring Shane McMahon on TV for? Really? Adam Pearce needed help from Shane McMahon to make this big mega announcement. Really? What, you think this because, Shane McMahon was on Monday Night Raw. I need to go watch Raw now to see what he did on the show. Come to find out he was there for 5 minutes announcing who was going to be in the Elimination Chamber. This is my problem. You bring back people like Goldberg and The Big Show and Booker T and Ric Flair and all these guys, Hulk Hogan. All these guys thinking, their name value alone is enough to make this show important. It's not. It is 2021. Get rid of the part-timers. The only reason why Edge gets a pass is because the level of work that Edge is doing right now deserves for him to be on TV. Edge was never ready to retire. He was forced to retire. And now he's back. And he's doing some of the best work of his career. And the thing about it is, Edge isn't even a part-timer. He's a full-timer. The guy was on Raw, NXT, SmackDown, and a pay-per-view last week. He has been on every single show since the Raw before the Royal Rumble. That's part-timer to me? No. So Edge, yes, he gets the pass. He's the only guy that would get a pass. And maybe John Cena. Because I did read a report today that John Cena and Brock Lesnar, their chances to be at Mania are low just because, they're outside of the U.S. And then, to come in, they would have to quarantine for a couple weeks. And Cena's working on, TV shows outside of the U.S. So him having to quarantine for 14 days just to show up for, let's say, 15 minutes on a WrestleMania card for one night wouldn't make any sense from a business standpoint. So I completely understand. So if we don't get Cena and Lesnar on the WrestleMania card this year, so be it. It's whatever. That should just open up for more people who are there every single week to get a bigger role, to have a bigger spot. Enough with this garbage, thinking that, let's bring Shane McMahon on to do nothing. That's going to bring the ratings up. They never understand. And they never learn from their mistakes. And yet you have all these yes men sitting there sucking Vince McMahon off. It's despicable. It really is. You got Triple H over who takes over for the Royal Rumble for one night while Vince is not there, and we get one of the best Royal Rumbles in the last decade because Triple H understands the product, but Vince McMahon doesn't. And stuff like what we saw last night is the reason for that. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy, man. What the actual hell, bro? Hate this stuff. Anyway, so that's the way the show opened up, right? We then had AJ Styles. He came out to mock Adam Pearce, and he said he would give the WWE Universe a preview for the Elimination Chamber, and we had a match with Jeff Hardy. This match was decent just because it's AJ Styles, right? We know AJ Styles can have a great match with anybody. I don't care about Jeff Hardy at all right now. I do care about AJ Styles, someone who actually deserves to be inside the Elimination Chamber. I don't know what you do with AJ Styles at WrestleMania right now. I don't, you know? I honestly don't. I'm trying to think of it, you know? I don't know what you do with AJ Styles. I heard some rumors of maybe him against Triple H. I don't know. I really don't know what you do with Styles at Mania. Anyway, though, back to it. The match wasn't bad. Near the end here, we had Hardy hit a twist of fate on Styles. Then he missed a swanton bomb, and then Styles made Hardy tap out with the calf crusher. Sheamus then questioned Adam Pearce backstage, calling him a yes man for doing whatever Shane wanted. We also had Drew McIntyre cut a promo saying that if Sheamus wanted a title shot, all he had to do was ask. He didn't have to ruin, years of friendship just for a title, right? And it was whatever. It was better than Drew's promo from last week when you had Drew out there looking like a dumbass, smiling after his best friend just betrayed him on the road to WrestleMania, but, Drew's promo here was decent. Next up, we had New Day versus Retribution's T-Bar and Slapjack. So Kofi Kingston was back in action here. This was actually a decent tag team match. Ali was on commentary going off about the opportunities he and Retribution got, while New Day got its shots. But you can't lie. The New Day have had shot after shot, opportunity after opportunity, because we know how much Vince loves the New Day. They've won, what is it? How many tag team titles? It's close to 10 at this point. I lost track. It's like 7 or 8, And I love the New Day, but you can't lie. They've been at the top of the division now for 6 years. For over half a decade now. And people like Ali, they never got those same opportunities. So it sucks that Ali's spitting facts here, but it leads to nothing at the end of the day, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't care about Ali, you don't care about Retribution. It doesn't matter because WWE puts no care into it. With the 50-50 booking, 1 week Retribution wins, and then the next week they're losing to the New Day three weeks in a row. It's just the 50-50 booking is so bad with this company. They don't make new stars. It's like everybody is the same. You win one match, you lose the other. Everybody is looked the same. Nobody is allowed to step up and actually become a star. Nobody's booked properly, and nobody's given a win streak. If a superstar is on a win streak, right? They call it a part-timer. They call in Goldberg or somebody to end it. They don't even give it that opportunity to a fresh face or a rising star or a younger talent because they don't understand it. They don't care about making new stars. Everybody has to be the same. So basically the whole while this match was going on, Ali was not only doing great stuff on commentary, but he's yelling, at his Retribution stablemates to continue the aggressiveness, to get the job done, right? The New Day got their comeback. Kofi and Woods hit Daybreak for the victory. Ali was furious, yelling at all the members of Retribution in the ring. So this wasn't bad, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything. Because Retribution doesn't matter on this show. The New Day, they do matter. And I would not be surprised if we see the New Day regain the tag team titles at WrestleMania. I would not be surprised. I don't know what you do with the Raw tag team division at WrestleMania. I don't have anything right now because there is no tag team division. It's garbage. Absolute garbage right now. Moving on. Getting from bad to worse. We had another Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans match. This feud has been absolutely garbage. It's been going on now for over a month, and I don't care. You guys know how I think about Ric Flair. You guys know I do not give a crap about Ric Flair in 2021. But they continue to, bring him out. The one thing I will give WWE a little bit of credit on tonight is they actually gave you somewhat of an explanation. Somewhat of an explanation for why they had Lacey Evans with Ric Flair. Ric Flair explained that he had chosen Lacey Evans to represent him as his next protege. So, thing that pisses me off about this is you bring back Ric Flair and you're basically just trying to do what you did with him back with Evolution. Back when Triple H, back with Randy Orton and Batista were all young bucks. Mainly Orton and Batista, of course. And at the end of the day, right, because somewhat to the, being under the wing of a legend like Ric Flair, who could still go in the ring, it made it made Batista and Randy Orton bigger stars at the end of the day. They were bigger stars. And Batista, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Randy Orton is a legend who will be a Hall of Famer when he does retire. But now, Ric Flair is not a legend. He's an old man who should not be on WWE TV in 2021. But you continue to bring his ass out every single week thinking that he's the answer. He's not. He's garbage. Get him off of television. You're hurting his legacy. You're not making me. I've been watching this product for 20 years since I was a little kid, right? What about the new fans, the new people that are watching? Are they going to go back to the WWE Network to watch Ric Flair back in the 80s, back in the 90s from WCW? No, they are not going to go back and watch Ric Flair for what he did. They're just like, get this old geezer off of television. All right, you know what I see? I'm going to be honest here for my anime fans, right? For any of my anime fans listening to the podcast right now. You know what I see when I see Ric Flair come out? I see Master Roshi from Dragon Ball, an old geezer who is way past his time. And I love Master Roshi because you guys know Dragon Ball is my favorite show ever. But when I see Ric Flair, I'm just like, leave. Go away. Do not come back. I don't care about you at all. You're not making Lacey Evans into a bigger star. You're not helping Charlotte Flair at the end of the day. You're making me want to turn off my television every single time you're on TV. Get out. Leave. Please. So moving on, right? Moving on. Lacey Evans said there was no romance between them, even though Lacey said Rick was very cute. But basically, Rick said that he was going to mentor Lacey Evans into becoming the next Raw Women's Champion, going after Asuka, which we will talk about in a sec, right? So Charlotte came out. Charlotte was not having it. So basically, both Charlotte and both Charlotte and Lacey Evans, right? Both Charlotte and Lacey Evans were both believed they deserved to be the number one contender for the Raw Women's Championship. So they're already putting in your minds, right? Charlotte's back in the title picture. It's WrestleMania season. Anybody getting a case of deja vu here, or is it just me? Anybody getting WrestleMania 34 vibes? Oh, no. Anybody getting WrestleMania 35 vibes? when Charlotte became the SmackDown Women's Championship by beating Asuka 2 weeks before WrestleMania. I'm getting those vibes right now. And I'm scared. I'm nervous. I have a bad feeling that Asuka is not even going to be in the Raw Women's Championship match at Mania. I think Asuka is going to be in the Mae Young Classic Battle Royal. I honestly believe that. I think, and my boy Anthony said it. He texted it to me. He said that Lacey Evans is going to defeat Asuka at the Elimination Chamber for the Raw Women's Championship. And then this story with Charlotte's going to go all the way on to WrestleMania. And Charlotte's going to win the Raw Women's Championship as the babyface at WrestleMania. Probably on night 2. Because Sasha Banks will probably defend her title on night 1. I honestly think that's what's going to happen. I agree with Anthony. I'm scared for Asuka right now. She may not even be in the Raw Women's title picture going to WrestleMania. Unless it's a triple threat. Lacey Evans does not deserve to be in the Raw Women's title picture. Lacey Evans is the number 1 contender for the Raw Women's title. Because that match was announced tonight. What in the world? It goes back to what I said about The Miz and Jeff Hardy earlier. What in the hell has Lacey Evans done? Who has she beaten to deserve a Raw Women's Championship opportunity? You're putting together these random matches, right, to make a card out of the Elimination Chamber, and it's garbage. Garbage. I don't know what this company is thinking. I don't. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. What are they thinking right now? Are we actually serious? Lacey Evans could enter into WrestleMania as the Raw Women's Champion? Are we actually really considering that? Asuka is being buried. I complain here every single week that Asuka's Raw Women's title reign has been garbage. But now that you look at it, right? They're actually trying. I thought they were making some headway with Alexa Bliss. But no, they made a complete 180. Asuka's Raw, when Asuka loses, if Asuka loses at Elimination Chamber, we're going to look back and Asuka's title reign will go down as one of the worst women's championship reigns of all time. And that's sad because we're saying that about and my AirPods broke. But we're saying that about Asuka, one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. Honestly, who has been mistreated on her entire main roster career. And I don't care. You go back and you look at her championship reigns, right? Outside of her reign from NXT, she has not had one good championship reign on the main roster. No. I was going to say maybe her women's tag team title reign with Kairi Sane when she was with the Kubaki Warriors. But that wasn't a good reign at all. And I like them as the Kubaki Warriors. I actually enjoyed that tag team. But that wasn't even a good reign. I would be lying to you guys and I would be lying to myself if I said that was a good reign. Outside of Asuka's NXT Women's Championship reign, she has not had a good reign on the main roster. Right? People are just going to look at her accolades and still probably be in the WWE Hall of Fame. But Asuka has not had one good reign on the main roster, and that is sad. Asuka is being destroyed on the main roster. They are wasting away her prime. Her Raw Women's Championship reign outside the matches with Sasha Banks, the match with Zelina Vega, who I miss. I miss Zelina Vega, man. Oh, man, I miss Zelina Vega. Somebody that should have never been let go. And maybe one day Zelina comes back. But I hope Zelina, I know her 90-day complete clause, which is already crazy. It's already crazy to think about how it's already been 3 months since Zelina was released, right? Wouldn't be surprised if Zelina ends up in AEW or maybe Impact. But, man, oh, man. Right, man, oh man, I miss Zelina Vega, but man, have they fucked up on Asuka. Really, if you were to say when Becky Lynch dropped or Becky Lynch vacated the Raw Women's Championship last May to go be pregnant and become a mom, right? If you were to say that she would drop that title to Asuka and then Asuka would go on to have one of the worst Raw Women's Championship reigns of all time. I would say that you're shooting yourself in the foot. It's Asuka we're talking about. How can Asuka be treated that badly? But she has been booked so bad as Raw Women's Champion. I feel so bad for Asuka. So bad. I know, I have to believe that Asuka sometimes sits at home. She looks at the Raw Women's Championship and she's like, is it really worth it? Yes, I may be the champion, right? And I have all these accolades. But have I really done anything? Outside of the matches Asuka's had with the 4 Horsewomen. So her matches with Sasha, Becky, Bayley, Charlotte. Has Asuka really done anything? No. She's been wasted on the main roster, and that is sad. That is sad. And the thing about it is, you had Bianca Belair on tonight's show. She was there for 2 minutes, right? Bianca cut a backstage promo with Charlie Caruso, talking about how she's going to wait, and make her decision probably out after Elimination Chamber, just like Edge, right? Which will most likely still be Sasha Banks, but still, they're teasing you, like, right? Saying that Bianca's going to wait, right? But, man, if anything, the match should be Bianca versus Asuka at Mania. It honestly should. Save Bianca and Sasha for SummerSlam. But hey, I don't even think Asuka's going to be in the Raw Women's title picture. I'd rather have Becky Lynch. And you guys know how much I hate when WWE does stuff like this. But if I'm being honest, if, WWE is actually thinking about giving us Charlotte versus Lacey at Mania for the Raw Women's title, I would rather have Becky come back and win the Raw Women's Championship right away at WrestleMania. I honestly rather have that happen than see Lacey Evans versus Charlotte. And that's sad that I have to say that. Really. Because it should not be that easy for Becky to come back and become Raw Women's Champion. But honestly, I'd rather see that happen than Lacey versus Charlotte at this point in time. It's shameful what WWE's doing with the Raw Women's division. Shameful. I don't know. I have no idea what we do to fix this mess. I really don't have an answer. Right? I said have Alexa Bliss become Raw Women's Champion with what she's doing with that character. I don't even think Alexa was even on the show. Right? Maybe somebody in the chat can remind me, but I don't even think Alexa was on the show last night. I don't know what they're doing. The Raw Women's division is in such a mess. I don't know how you fix it. I don't. And it's sad that going to WrestleMania season that they might mess everything up and make things 10 times worse by having Lacey Evans defeat Asuka at the Elimination Chamber and walk in the Mania as the Raw Women's Champion just so they could get Charlotte Flair another championship victory. Another WrestleMania victory. Sasha Banks, the best female wrestler in the world, has 0. Sasha's going to walk into WrestleMania as the SmackDown Women's Champion, right? 0-5. With the scary thought that she might go 0-6. And I'm praying that she doesn't. But that still could happen. It's a potential, it's a potential thing. There's a chance. And Charlotte might enter into WrestleMania going for her 4th WrestleMania victory. Her 4th championship victory at Mania. Something she doesn't deserve. And it's shameful and it's sad that they doing all this for Charlotte. It really is sad. They're not making Charlotte a bigger name at the end of the day. They're just making people more and more disgusted and turned off every time they do this for Charlotte. You guys understand why I hate Charlotte now? Really? For any of the Charlotte fans here, you guys understand why I hate Charlotte so much? It's stuff like this. Hate it. Anyway, man, we got the match. The match was awful. Right? There was a botch. I didn't notice my first time. I actually saw this on Twitter because I was not paying attention to most of this match. Excuse me. We had what was it? There was a point in this match where and WWE messes up with the camera angles. Lacey Evans was in the corner and Charlotte Flair ran over, right? It looks like Charlotte was going to do like a clothesline. Thing is, Charlotte stops right before she gets to Lacey Evans, right? And then Lacey pauses for like 2 seconds and then decides just to slap Charlotte. And the camera was at the worst angle, so it looks so bad on TV. It's like Lacey forgot to do the move. I think Lacey was supposed to, hit Charlotte with a boot here. I don't know. But it looks so bad from a television standpoint. I was like, really? This is the person you're considering having walking the Mania as the Raw Women's Champion. It was absolutely shameful to look at. Shameful. Absolutely shameful, man. Hated it. So, man, this was bad. This was really bad, right? So we have Charlotte versus Lacey Evans. The match ends in a disqualification, right? So basically, the winner of this match becomes the number one contender for the Raw Women's Championship. That's basically the whole thing here, So at the end here, Charlotte loses, her temper as the babyface, right? And then she starts assaulting Lacey Evans to the point where the ref has no choice but to ring for the bell and ask for a disqualification, right? So this was bad because the winner of the match gets to become the number one contender. So Charlotte gives up an opportunity. Not that I care, because I don't give two fucks about Charlotte. She can go F off. I don't care. But Charlotte being a dumb babyface, because WWE always wants to make their babyface look like idiots, right? So they have Charlotte. Oh my gosh, man. They have Charlotte give up a chance for the Raw Women's Championship by allowing herself to act like an idiot and get herself disqualified. And now Lacey gets a free opportunity at the Raw Women's Championship. Well, I could easily see maybe Charlotte costs Lacey the match, right? Because remember, Lacey was the one who cost Charlotte and Asuka the tag team championships with the distraction a couple weeks ago against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. But still, man, was this bad? This is bad. I don't care what happens. If Asuka, wins at, the Elimination Chamber, good for her. And I love Asuka. But man, I don't care. They've messed up the Raw Women's division so bad. I just don't care right now. I have no idea how you fix this mess. And I am not, unless it's like Bianca versus Asuka, which is unlikely at this point, right? You have Bianca over here acting like a fangirl for both Sasha and Asuka. I just don't care what you do with the Raw Women's Championship at Mania. I don't. Unless it's Rhea Ripley, somehow got involved. But I don't see that happening because Rhea Ripley is going to be on SmackDown, which I think is actually the better thing for her career right now. Because why Rhea Ripley should not, want to be on Monday Night Raw with this mess of a women's division at the moment. Moving on, we had Edge. Edge gave a WrestleMania update, right? So despite the thing alone, I was like, WrestleMania update. Wow. So that's what we're doing now, huh? We're doing updates. So basically, Edge and Bianca Belair, like I said earlier, they were both on Monday Night Raw tonight, and neither person gave an explanation or made a decision on which champion they would face, right? So Edge comes out, right? Edge came out and Edge questioned that if he would challenge for the WWE Championship. Like I said, it's already been basically confirmed that Edge is going to go up against Roman. And WWE hasn't even decided who's going to win that match. Which should tell you right away why WWE shouldn't even be doing the match. Right? Because Edge right now is on a roll. I love what Edge is doing. But Roman Reigns is also on a roll. It would make a lot more sense for Daniel Bryan to take the Universal title from Roman Reigns. Have Daniel Bryan hold that title for a couple of months. Have some really good feuds, right? Have Bryan defend it against like Seth Rollins and a Cesaro, maybe a Nakamura or a Sami Zayn, And then if we have a shakeup, a superstar shakeup or another draft later this year, then you can have Roman win back the title, right? Just because Roman's that damn good. But, the fact that you're questioning, the winner between Edge and Roman Reigns should tell you why you shouldn't even be doing the match. And the thing is, they're trying to make you believe that there's a chance that Edge may be going after Finn Balor, the NXT title. But don't make me laugh. We know that's not happening. Right? And you have Edge out here questioning if Drew McIntyre is going to be the WWE champion after the Chamber. Which, makes sense. But still, Edge versus, just from them doing Drew McIntyre defending the WWE Championship inside the chamber should tell you that they're playing on Edge versus Roman Reigns. Even if you don't read the dirt sheets or if you don't read any wrestling articles about rumors for Mania, that should tell you right away that Edge versus Roman is most likely happening at Mania. Right? But they're trying to make you believe from a casual standpoint that Edge still hasn't made up his mind. So I understand from a story standpoint, but from an analysis and, from someone who knows this company really well and understands this business, right? That they're going to do Edge versus Roman. And they're just trying to draw this out because they're in no rush, right? WrestleMania is still 2 months away. So they're going to take their time. They're going to try to keep you on the edge of your seat. And probably Edge will make his decision by spearing Roman Reigns after the Elimination Chamber. That's probably what's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. And when it does happen, just remember you heard it on the February 9th edition of the Legit You podcast on Fitzmonk TV's channel. It's that simple. So The Miz came out. You guys know how much I hate The Miz. And they have made an absolute mockery of the Money in the Bank. Right? You guys realize the Money in the Bank pay-per-view is in May. So we're going to have new Money in the Bank winners here in a couple months. And that's the craziest thing about it. So they're going to have Miz, cash in eventually. And I think there's actually a chance that The Miz cashes in successfully and becomes WWE champion at Mania. Right? Because one thing is, you're not going to want to have every single title change hand at Mania. Not every single match is going to end with a new champion. Even though for the most part, that's where, you do have a lot of new champions at Mania. But not everybody's going to be losing their title, So I think if this ends up being most likely, if it ends up most likely being Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus for the WWE title at Mania, I can easily see Drew McIntyre retaining, right? And then Miz cashing in on Drew McIntyre after the match and becoming WWE champion. I don't care at all about Miz becoming WWE champion. I have not cared about The Miz since SmackDown Live back in 2016-2017, right? When The Miz was an excellent IC champion and he was absolutely fantastic with Maurice by his side. But now, The Miz now is garbage. Him, John Morrison, it's terrible. They even had Angel Garza now joining them. I don't know if Angel Garza is going to be part of this faction going forward, but, it's garbage. Pure garbage. And you have The Miz coming out telling Edge, it doesn't matter which title you go for. If you win at WrestleMania, I will cash in and become world champion. But Edge here, this was the only good thing because, Edge was fantastic here. Miz is terrible. Who gives a crap about Miz? Edge is like, why in the hell would you tell me your plans? It's not like I already knew, as a former Money in the Bank winner. It's not like that I didn't already know to have two eyes in the back of my head after I become champion at Mania. But the fact that you're telling me that that's what you plan to do, how much of an idiot can you be? Have you forgotten that I'm the ultimate opportunist, right? And I think he said something. There was a quote Edge had here. I don't have it in my notes, but I think it was like, I'm over here playing poker and you're over here playing State of Maid. I don't know what it's called, but I think it's some kind of board game. But it was a fire line. Easy already. Edge on the mic lately has been absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Edge is on a whole nother level. And I have to believe that Edge is writing all his promos right now. He has to be. There's no way. So you're going to tell me someone else is writing Edge's promos. This guy who has been in the business way too long, and his mic work is operating on a whole nother level. Plus, he can still go in the ring, right? And I love what Edge is doing right now, man. And I'm excited for Edge. Even though I disagree with him challenging Roman at Mania for the Universal title, I love what Edge is doing right now, man. Love it. And for the younger superstars back there, if you want to become a legend in this business, follow Edge. Look what this guy does in the ring, on the mic. Take notes. Take note, right? So after Edge's promo here, he left. He's told Miz, you got to focus more on Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, right? And Miz was speechless. Miz had nothing to respond. So then we got Damian Priest versus Angel Garza, right? This was set up by something that had backstage. I didn't give two fucks, but you had Bad Bunny at ringside. I have been hearing rumors that WWE could be planning to have Bad Bunny in a tag team match with Damian Priest against Miz and Morrison at Mania. I have absolutely no interest in that. WWE thinks by having Bad Bunny on television, that's going to bring their ratings up by having this big celebrity star. But instead of making the product actually feel important and building, a program with actual WWE superstars who are under contract, you want to try to do this whole celebrity thing, right? And we've seen this how many times? We've seen this with Tyson Fury, right? Or we've seen this with Cain Velasquez or Floyd Mayweather. I'm so tired of it. I really am. I'm so tired of the celebrity crap. You're not going to make WrestleMania more important with Bad Bunny on it. I'm sorry. And if that match does happen, it should be on the pre-show. I want to see it on WrestleMania Night 1 or Night 2. That's a pre-show match. And I don't care about it at all. It's garbage. So anyway, getting to the match here. We saw when the ref had his back turned, Miz and Morrison started beating down on Priest. Priest actually stole Miz's briefcase and snuck it in the ring, which John Morrison, like an idiot, took the bait, right? And then basically the referee sent Miz and Morrison and banned them from ringside. After that, Damian Priest hit the Reckoning, right? Which is basically almost like another version of, Cody Rhodes' Crossroads, right? And that was it. This was garbage, nothing special. I like Damian Priest. I would like to see him in that, in the mid-card fighting for the United States Championship, right? But this is garbage. This was garbage. There was nothing good here outside of Edge's promo, and that was it. Moving on, we had Keith Lee versus Matt Riddle, right? This was set up backstage, Keith Lee, remember, he's been off television the last couple weeks because him and his girlfriend Mia Yim, they tested positive for COVID, and this was their first show back, right? So Lee told Riddle that he should let someone else go after Lashley in the U.S. title, and that would make the most sense, seeing that Riddle has had no success against Lashley these last couple weeks. So we got this match. This was actually a first time ever match on Raw tonight, and this was actually pretty good. The two fist bumped it before the match. You had MVP on commentary, and this was actually a decent match. This was pretty good. I'm not gonna go through everything, whatever, but I'll just skip to the end here, right? So near the end, Riddle found his strides, hit some brotons, and, he battled out of Lee's spirit bomb into a triangle choke. Lee was barely able to have enough strength because Riddle was working on his arm to try to take away a little bit of that power throughout the entire match. And then Lee was able to lift Riddle with a pretty good spirit bomb to get the win, right? So not surprised here that Lee got the win in what was actually a pretty decent match, especially from Monday Night Raw standpoint. So then we had Bobby Lashley. I knew this was going to happen. I didn't tweet it out, but I knew it was going to happen. Lashley attacked Lee and Riddle after the match. He hit Lee with a huge spine buster. Like I said, Lashley's looked like a beast and has been booked, he's been one of the only guys that has actually been booked correctly in the last year since the pandemic, right? Lashley looked like a beast. He was able to plant Lee with a spine buster at will. He made it look easy. How he lifted up Keith Lee like he was nothing. Then he took out Riddle with the Hurt Lock. Then he hit Lee with the steel steps, and then he stood on the announce table and lifted off the United States title. Showing off that aggressiveness and intensity that, Bobby Lashley's known for. And then it was announced that at the Elimination Chamber, we would get a triple threat between Lashley, Lee, and Riddle for the U.S. Championship, right? So, this probably explains why Lashley was not put inside the Elimination Chamber, right? But I still think Lashley should have been in the chamber. I really do. Will Lee win the United States Championship? I don't know. I think Keith Lee should become U.S. champion. I think he should. In my opinion, he should, right? You know, because if Brock Lesnar is not going to be there for WrestleMania, because I've been, you guys know I've been in a perfect world, I would have Keith Lee become the U.S. champion. And then I don't really know who you would have Keith Lee face at WrestleMania. Maybe Damian Priest. I feel like that would be a banger. Keith Lee versus Damian Priest for the U.S. Championship at Mania. Give the spotlight to, the next generation. Or maybe do a triple threat where Riddle versus Priest versus Lee at Mania. I don't know. Right? Or, maybe we get Keith Lee versus AJ Styles for the U.S. Championship. Maybe that's AJ Styles' match at Mania. But I don't know. In a perfect world, I would do that match, Keith Lee versus AJ Styles, or Lee versus Priest versus Riddle, something like that. And then, I would have Bobby Lashley finally face Brock Lesnar at Mania. Give us the dream match we've all been waiting for, But right now, it's not really looking that good for Brock Lesnar being at WrestleMania. But remember, we still have 2 months. A lot of stuff could change between now and then. So we'll just have to wait and see, right? But pretty good stuff here with Riddle, Lee, and Lashley. Right now, my prediction, and we'll probably do Elimination Chamber predictions next week, but I would have Keith Lee win the United States Championship at the Elimination Chamber. Next up, in a tables match, we had Nia Jax versus Lana. If you guys remember, Lana and Nia Jax, not Nia Jax, Lana and Naomi pinned Asuka, which, like I said, if you guys remember, I ranted about this on last week's Raw review. We had Lana and Naomi become the number 1 contenders for the tag team titles. Like I said, I don't care about this at all. I love Naomi. You guys know this. But her team with Lana is something I'm not interested in at all. I want to see Naomi going after the Raw Women's Championship. I thought that would be one of the ways you would fix the Raw Women's division. But instead, you have Naomi in this garbage tag team with Lana. Something that I do not care about. It's that simple. Right? It's that simple. But, this match was garbage. I'm not going to review it. You guys know how much I hate Nia Jax. Anthony texted me during this match talking about how much he hated Nia Jax. What do you want us to say? There's nothing to say. Nia Jax is garbage. End of story. Let's go home. It's that simple. This match ended... when... Nia Jax refused to put Lana through the table because she wanted to, inflict as much punishment on, as possible on her rival, right? But this turned against her because eventually Lana was able to flip the tables after Nia Jax did a leg drop, and she kept saying, "Oh, my ass, right? They had to blur it out on TV because she was swearing. And then Lana... Actually, she didn't spear Naomi. I mean, not Naomi. She didn't spear Nia. She pushed Nia into the table. The table broke, and that's how Lana got the win. After this, Shayna Baszler attacked Lana. Naomi made the save, of course, for her tag partner. And then we got an impromptu match with Baszler and Naomi. Naomi actually got the win here with a leg trap pinfall. So it's good to see Naomi get a win. We'll probably have a tag team title match between these two teams at the Elimination Chamber. Not that I care or anything like that. I will keep saying what I say every single week. The Riot Squad should be the ones to take those titles off of Shayna and Naomi. Maybe they get their big moment at Mania. I don't know. Right? And, they should have... what is it? They should have the Riot Squad go down the NXT and defend those titles against the winners of the Dusty Rhodes Classic for the females, or I think it's the Mae Young Class. I don't know what they're calling it, but you guys get the point, right? There's nothing else for me to say about this. Nia Jax is garbage. Shayna Baszler wrestles like she just doesn't care anymore, and it's sad. It's sad. All right, And then, last but not least, we got Randy Orton versus McIntyre in the main event. If you guys remember, this match was supposed to happen like a month ago. You know, this is a match we've already seen countless times on Raw and on pay-per-view. We've seen this match on like 4 pay-per-views last year, right? They fought for the WWE title like 4 or 5 times, you know, and what many people consider, some people actually consider this the rivalry of the year. I don't. Right? I thought the rivalry of the year was, you know, Edge versus Orton or Sasha versus, you know, Bayley, or you could even say Roman versus Jey Uso. I think those rivalries were more deserving, but whatever. You know, remember this match was supposed to take place a month ago, but Drew McIntyre had COVID at the time, so they decided to do the match now. I didn't care about it because the title was on the line. And I didn't expect Drew, even though Drew and Randy, they have good chemistry with one another, they weren't going to do anything that we haven't already seen. And remember, still no signs of The Fiend, right? We know that's probably most likely going to be Randy Orton's thing going into WrestleMania. But it's just like, when is The Fiend going to return? Because they're really dragging this out. Really. It's been already nearly 2 months since TLC when Orton burned The Fiend alive. So, I don't know. I think it's time to bring The Fiend back, to be honest. You know, maybe they bring him back at the Elimination Chamber and, like, he costs Randy Orton a chance to win the WWE Championship. Maybe that's what happens. I don't know. But I think it's time that we get Drew McIntyre back. I'm not Drew McIntyre. We get, what's his name? We get The Fiend back. I don't know how much longer they can, keep this forward. All right. All right, I just got an email from school. Hold up, real soon. All right, anyway, we got the match here. This was nothing special, right? The only thing that happened here at the end is as McIntyre was, getting the babyface comeback, of course, Sheamus ran in, which I wasn't surprised. I knew you're not going to have Orton or McIntyre lose clean, right? Especially going inside the Elimination Chamber when they're going to be battling for the WWE Championship in a couple weeks. So Sheamus ran in and he kicked Randy Orton, causing a disqualification. But then McIntyre caught Sheamus with a Claymore kick, right? Paying Sheamus back for what happened last week. And that's how the show ended. No surprise here. Typical WWE, right? And this was whatever. It was whatever. It was more just to have, McIntyre stand tall after Sheamus, bro kicked him to start their feud last week. That's all this was. It wasn't anything important, and it was like, whatever. And this, this shows how bad a show this was. This show was not good. It was easily the worst Raw of the year with all of the logic gaps from the Raw Women's Championship with Lacey Evans getting a shot that we all know she doesn't deserve to the Charlotte Flair agenda coming back into place, right? With Asuka's WrestleMania curse. We talk all the time about how Sasha Banks is cursed at WrestleMania. Asuka, it looks like she might be falling into a WrestleMania curse of her own, right? Because she can't get away from Charlotte Flair when it comes to WrestleMania season. And we also have the logic gaps with Jeff Hardy and The Miz being put inside the Elimination Chamber. Plus all the other garbage that happened on this show tonight. This was not a good show. WWE needs to get their act together quickly. Because, I'm not even talking about when it comes in terms of the Elimination Chamber here, right? I'm talking about in terms of WrestleMania. Because right now, I am not excited for the Raw side of things for WrestleMania. SmackDown, yes. Right? And we'll see what happens. We have Seth Rollins coming back this week, this week on SmackDown. We'll probably see what Sasha's Elimination Chamber future look like, right? And all this other stuff. Like I said, I could definitely see Sasha's Chamber match being her defending against, it's not going to be Bianca. I don't know why you would put Bianca in there. But, Sasha will probably defend. And Sasha's easily going to retain. We all know this. But she's probably going to defend against Bayley, Carmella, I don't know. Maybe Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan. Maybe one of those two, or if not both, right? And I guess you could say Natalya. Actually, no, Rhea Ripley. You got Rhea Ripley. If Rhea's going to be on SmackDown like we are all expecting her to be, yeah, you would have Sasha defend against Bayley, Rhea Ripley, Carmella, right? Natalya probably, and one of the members of the Riot Squad. I would pick Liv Morgan because I like Liv Morgan more than Ruby Riot, even though I like both of them, but I would pick Liv Morgan. And that's a solid chamber right there. That would be a solid chamber match, you know, and maybe at the end, you can have like the final three be Sasha, Rhea, and Bayley, and then do something fun there and end up with Sasha retaining, right? But yeah. You know, other than that, you know, SmackDown, you know, looking forward to that. We'll see what happens with Roman Reigns, right? They're teasing more stuff with Kevin Owens, which I'm not excited for. But, you know, I'm always excited with Sasha. Always excited, you know, to see Seth Rollins return. We'll see if Seth's coming back as a babyface or a heel, right? There's some people believing, like myself, that we could, if Seth does remain a heel, Seth Rollins, you know, could go after Big E for the IC title at Mania. If anything, you could do you could actually have Seth Rollins win the IC title before Mania, and you could do Seth Rollins versus Daniel Bryan. That's a dream match that we haven't seen yet. I would love to see that. Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins for the IC title at Mania. Maybe that's what you do for Daniel Bryan at Mania. You know? So like I said, it feels like I could book WrestleMania better than the people who get paid to do it. And it's sad. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. But other than that, guys, that's about all I, got for you guys today. You know, yeah, and I know what some people are going to say. We've seen Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins before, but we've never seen it in a high-stakes, you know, pay-per-view level match, right? So maybe that's what you do. But, you know, other than that, that's all I got for you guys today. Like I said, this show was not good, but I know the podcast was, right? So hopefully you guys enjoyed, you know, like I said, doing these reviews now on Tuesday mornings probably is going to be the theme going forward till we're able to live stream again, right? And I'm hoping to have that patched up in the next couple weeks. But doing these reviews on Tuesday actually allows me to analyze the show a little bit better with a clearer mind after a good night's sleep. So let me know what you guys thought in the comment section down below. Other than that, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys subscribe. Enable notifications by clicking the bell next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Thank you guys. Stay safe and healthy, y'all. Peace.